There's a new app called, cleverly enough, Ghetto Tracker. Interesting. That's the title of the app, until they got in trouble, of course. And what did the app do? Well, they explained inside Ghetto Tracker that it helps to find which parts of town are safe and which ones are ghetto or unsafe. Okay, now that doesn't seem very PC. So, of course, they got in a lot of trouble for that. The new name of the app is, quote, the good part of town. Oh, I see. Boy, that was very well disguised. I can't really tell where you're coming from at this point. And if that wasn't clear enough, let me show you the picture that was on the previous app and the one that's on it now. In the previous app, the one that was called Ghetto Tracker, they had this picture on. Well, that seems like a lovely white family who would definitely want to avoid the ghetto parts of town or just poor people in general. Now, that they've changed the same exact app's name to Good Part of Town, look at the new picture they have up on the app. Oh, what a wonderful coincidence. That's awesome. Now, of course, the guy who put together the app says, no, don't be ridiculous. He says, quote, I've seen comments on blogs and in Twitter that are trying to say this is encouraging racism or social stratification, and that was never our intention. Dude, you called it Ghetto Tracker, and you said, here, I'm going to show you how to avoid the ghettos. I think there's a pretty fair inference that you were trying to avoid, at the very least, poor folks, okay? So he's like, social stratification, racism, what name so? And by the way, are there white ghettos? I mean, there have been in the past, obviously. Germany had ghettos. And by the way, some of the people who complained about this app were people who suffered through World War II, saying, I know what a real ghetto looks like, and that's that you shouldn't name your app after that, okay? But I think it's pretty clear what ghettos mean in the United States of America. But I like this clever turn. He thinks he's being clever. He says, I can't be held responsible for the assumptions people may make in regards to factors like race and income. In other words, I didn't infer that. But I guess you got that out of it. I just called the Ghetto Tracker. What kind of racist are you that you thought it was about black people and poor people? Now look, on the other hand, the critics, I think, have also gone a tiny bit overboard here. Here's one. David Holmes on Pando Daily writes, it's pretty detrimental to society when we reinforce the idea that poor or crime-heavy areas are places to be categorically avoided or shamed, as if to assume that every person who lives in an area with comparatively high crime or poverty is a criminal, or that these areas are devoid of culture or positivity. Okay, dude, I love you, but bring it down. Okay. Now, the problem is calling a Ghetto Tracker, and the implications are obvious, right? But if he had said it's a high crime area or low crime area app, and are there high crime areas that are in poverty-stricken areas of town? Of course there are. When I interned in the summer at the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York, they showed us exactly where most of the crime happened in Manhattan. And there was different sections, and one was on 109th Street where they sold drugs consistently. One was on 125th Street where they had the projects where they ran a giant drug enterprise. Is that a higher crime area? Of course it is. Now, if you did an app saying, hey, you might not want to stumble into 125th in Amsterdam or 109th in Amsterdam, okay, I can understand that. And I like the idea that, well, look, I don't want to make assumptions. There could be great culture and positivity on 125th Street. There could, on the other hand, I'm not sure you should drive through just to find out what kind of positivity is going on there. So you got to keep it real. Just don't infer needlessly, make it a race thing, or say that you should, if there's a poor neighborhood that doesn't have any crime or comparatively bad crime, there's no reason why you should avoid it unless you have, social issues. So just do it in a reasonable way. If I did the app, I would have put high crime areas if people want to avoid them. And then one of the highest crime areas I would have put is Wall Street, because that's where the largest crime has happened in this country. Now, they're not likely to rob you as you're walking through Wall Street. They'll rob you when you're at home and sleeping, and they'll go into your bank account. It's a different kind of crime, okay? But both sides, keep it real.